Welcome to my not really review of Not Really Skate 4. At first, I was thinking of doing a whole review on this, and I actually tentatively made a video, but right when I posted it, it was starting to be more of the glitch type gameplay and challenges and stuff. Part of what I said in that video is there wasn't really a whole heck of heap of glitches, which was a fair bit, arguably a whole heck of a heap of videos on the internet for Skate 3 especially, and even the Skate franchise in general. I ain't gonna say it's outright the majority of the fan base, but it's arguably the majority of the videos. Yeah, I mean, that's an important bit to me. Probably the majority of my skate content is either glitches or Hollow Meat. We still don't have Hollow Meat, but what we do have in general is what a whole heck of a heap of people said in general, so that's why I'm not gonna outright review it. One, because it does seem like the things are progressing in terms of what I do and stuff. So look at the title of what I do and stuff. Might come later once things improve. But for now, what people are saying is what straightforward needs to improve. Some things even Skate, like the developers themselves, are saying will improve. There'll be updates to the map. There'll be a few miscellaneous tricks added. There'll be leaderboards, editing to the replay editor itself, hopefully for the better, etc., etc. with that. And a lot of things that seem all but confirmed, like adding skate in the skate. It's like doing a trick and then the other person copies the trick. So yeah, you'd think they would add that. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, this ain't an outright review because I agree with the general sentiment of most people. The actual physics of skateboarding, especially in the more street type stuff, is great. It's probably more fun than any of the other skate games I've played. I've not played Skater XL or Sesame, but at least from what I can tell, while yes, those are more realistic, there seems to be a genuine argument that Skate is actually more fun. And I played probably about 20 hours between the restricted access and the early access, like of what's the equivalent of early access, but only those that were in the restricted access could then play that until September 16th. So, yeah, it's fun. I'll say that, but there ain't a whole heck of a heap to do with that fun. In a lot of ways, it kind of parallels Gran Turismo 7, and y'all know my thoughts on that. I reviewed that a whole heck of a heap down to individual minor things. But in general, with Gran Turismo 7, is they tried to nostalgia bait and make it sound like it's the continuation of the franchise everybody's been wanting, and then they make it macrotransaction laid into the word literal core of the game is based around it, and then what people started liking from the previous iteration, they made a lot worse. So, like in the previous iteration of Gran Turismo, they added sport mode, but they ended up making that worse by just running the same pretty much few races over and over and over, and of those cars they use in that, they don't add the new versions of those cars. Kind of the same with Skate, too. Like what people started liking in Skate 3, like online spot battles or the creating parks and stuff like that. Nope. Not a thing. You cannot create custom parks, at least as of yet, and upload them for others to use yet. In Skate, it was one of the things. It was a massive feature in Skate 3. So, yeah. And I agree with the general sentiment of what there is. Ain't a whole heck of a heap. I will say, again, a lot of people said it too, that a lot of the challenges do reset over time. But they don't really give a good detail on what's considered like an easier challenge or harder challenge or stuff like that. It all is random, emphasis on the dumb, and I ain't super skilled at the actual skateboarding part of it. I mean, as y'all know, my Skate 3 gameplay, like I said, the majority of it is glitches and whole meat. So, yeah. The challenges reset, which I guess depending on the person could be a good or bad thing, but overall, even with that, it's still the same general gameplay of do the sequence of events that it tells you to do. There's no directly really competing with other people. It's just do the thing. It's basically task more than an actual competition. There's no true story mode. Obviously, people have said that. So my thoughts that are sort of more unique from what other people saying though is, well, yes, people said this in general. I can give somewhat more of a unique take on it is the Hall of Meat though, because I mean, proved it before. At one point, and maybe even now, it's really impossible to tell at this point, but I'll say 1 point for absolutely sure. I had the most Hall Meat earnings of anyone on PlayStation 3, which, from what I can tell, was a console which was the most popular. So theoretically, if I had it on PS3, I'd probably been ahead of whatever it may be. So, yeah. I will say that while All Meat is not there, and it's getting a lot of flack for that, the stunts, which is what it's called, to where you use sort of kind of the spread eagle of what was in Skate 3, but in a way kind of turned up to 11 because it can be used to do tricks and stuff. In some ways, it's like the old Halloween. In Skate 3 especially, but in some of the other earlier iterations too, there would be challenges and stuff to have to get the actual skater to certain things. Like a specific example that I remember in Skate 3 is there was a clock tower, and you had to bail in various things, and one of them specifically was to a trash can. In Skate, one of the things, which is called a stunt, is do miscellaneous things in bails, and then specifically bail into a trash can. While it's not as good as the old Hall Meat, and there's straight up Hall Meat type things missing, like the actual points in the competition of it, there is some similarity. So it's not really all gone, but they could definitely add the Hall Meat. The actual perma-tech thing, I think is what they call it, is cool as a feature because you can like roll in to landing it on your feet. So in some ways you can do kind of a fancy looking battle roll thing, and it makes it to where there's less like theatrics and just continuing skating. Like you don't see the points and then it like resets you or whatever. It's more of a fluid motion and probably all in all faster and things like that. So it's cool to have that feature, but in my opinion it's to be toggleable. Have it on for those who want to skate, because all in all it probably does make the skateboarding all a bit more fluid. Have it off for those that want to do the Halloween, or arguably make it a bit more realistic, because I mean it's realistic when people wreck. No one's perfect. Some people have said the reason for this is because they don't want the ESRB or whatever it's called in your country rating to go up. Of course, I don't know the exact rules of each individual country, but at least in the US, it's rated teen, and Skate 3 was rated teen, so at least in the US, it wouldn't make a difference anyway. And theoretically, falling down into a trash can or whatever it may be, in a way which is meant to be an actual challenge, would be about the same rating, whether you have points associated with it or whether it's just a challenge in general. I wouldn't think that rating would make much of a difference, but I mean, who knows? Also, that was 15 years ago, so maybe things might have been more lax back then. I don't know. I especially don't know the rules of each individual country or whatever, but tentatively speaking, I don't think that's the reason. I just simply don't think they've done that yet. Another thing that have been said straightforward is real skaters are not in the game. But what I say to that, and this is again kind of my own opinion, it's not really to what the norm is with that, so this might be somewhat controversial. Be careful what you ask for, because I feel like eventually, if the game is successful enough, there's going to be some real skaters that want to be involved with a paycheck. So maybe they'll add some missions later on, or some skins with like the sponsorships and stuff that real skaters have. Some skaters like have their own brands and stuff like that. Behind a paywall. essentially DLC type thing with missions and stuff, and then behind a paywall like there already is in the shop with getting the items. And with the shop in general, again, I agree with the general sentiment. It's Fortnite. You pay at least, I think the bare minimum was $5 for random stuff, or like look at the thumbnail of the video. It's $80, and they at first this truly came out and they had to fix it. But at first, this is actually the image they slashed out $79.99 to put $79.99. They screwed up on that one, so it made it look like it was sale, but it really wasn't. People called them out, and they eventually fixed it, but fixed it meaning it's still like $70, I think. AKA the price of an actual game to get a few aesthetic items in the very beginning of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, per year, if you end up having to spend thousands of reward dollars to be able to get all the aesthetic stuff. But, like the general sentiment, yeah, it's aesthetic, so it's not affecting the gameplay itself, and that's good, but I mean, all things considered, to end off the video, I agree with what the general sentiment is yet again. While there's individuals who like the game, there's individuals who are paid to like the game, and there's most people who are underwhelmed. A few people absolutely hate it. I'm in the underwhelmed, which again, I think is a general sentiment. I don't know of anyone, even the ones that are paid to like the game, that say that this is an outright better outcome than they're just releasing Skate 4. Like, you pay $70, you get the game, it has a story mode, it has non-Fortnite graphics. On from there. It's even the ones that are paid to say good stuff about it, I don't know anyone that are outright saying that this is better than an actual video game. Like, full price and such. They usually just don't mention it at all with the ones that are paid to like it. So, yeah. With that being said, while there's a lot of potential to it, and there's already some fun stuff there, there's some things that simply ain't ever gonna be fixed. Doesn't matter how long I'm gonna wait, they're still gonna keep the Fortnite type graphics. Granted, the graphics of Fortnite itself has improved through the years. We'll have to see if that happens with Skate. Who knows? It may. But I still wouldn't exactly call Fortnite a good-looking game. It's meant to still be played on mobile, just like Skate. And of course, the microtransactions are as bad, if not even worse, than Fortnite. So even at its best potential, I would say the game will never be higher than about a 7 out of 10, and it's online only, so who knows that once the servers go down, if we'll be able to play it at all, aka what people spend their money on might not be accessible, and the game might not be playable. So remember that too. If you're ever thinking about buying anything with reward money, you might not be able to access it at some point. So I'd say the peak, like ceiling of the game, is about a 7 out of 10. It would still be microtransaction laden, and the graphics would still be Fortnite-y, but worse than Fortnite. So, yeah. I'm still going to wait, though, in terms of probably just making content in general and mostly playing. I'll play bits and pieces there because there's already seasons that are set in early access too. But I mean, even just that. They're releasing it, calling it early access. If EA truly had confidence in the game, they would just go ahead and call it the full release. Them calling it early access would be their excuse for there being glitches and stuff that hurts the game. While there are already a bunch of fun glitches and stuff like Helix Snake and ZexDZex and all the people have done really cool stuff in the past, and that's great. So I guarantee I'll have videos at some point of it. Right now, I give the game about a 4 out of 10. With no home meat, arguably the main thing that I did before. No skate, no death races, some trickster. Missing, there's not as much verticality to the map like the general sentiment is. There needs to be some type of quarry and spillway and mega park and things like that. Again, not a review, so I won't go into exact specifics, but you can probably figure it out with my general takes of everything combined right now. Give it a 4 out of 10. Also, just minor point that I can make for myself too, because I've not heard anyone else outright say they played it on it. For standard PS4, it runs fine. I mean, it's meant to run on a phone, so I hope it runs fine. In a standard PS4, it doesn't seem any more glitchy. There are some various glitches that people have said before too. And of those that are playing on a PS5 or Pro or Xbox Series or whatever it may be, on a standard PS4 it runs fine. So that's something too, I guess, that to not really take points away with. But overall, yeah, as of now, I give it about a 4 out of 10. But there are already things confirmed, like the additions to map updates, which is probably all in all my most important. There's updates to leaderboards, there's updates to individual tricks, fixing the replay editor, things like that. So even with all the stuff that's confirmed right now, I'd say that at least when all those come out, they say up to season 3 in terms of the early access, but from what I can tell, we don't know how long the seasons are, so who knows how long that'll be. But let's say like once it's to season 3 of the early access, if they keep their promises, it's EA we're talking about, so we'll see. I'd say the game would already be about a 5 out of 10 of a free game, so it's not bad, but I'd still much rather pay for a game that would probably be 7.5, 8 out of 10 or so immediately, that we know for sure we can play however many years we want down the line, than what this is. That's for sure, folks, that's for sure. So in general, yeah, I'm just going to wait for the game to improve. It's already nice that there's a whole heck of a heap of fun glitches. I can tell there definitely be some videos and stuff. At some point, especially if, it's not even really when with that, that's truly really does seem like a if, they have Hollow Meat. And I'll say straightforward, there will be no point in which I'm enjoying the game outright more than Skate 3, but it's free, so I might as well play it at some point. But I really don't see all that much point in me getting super invested in a game that, as of now, in my opinion, is about a 4 out of 10. Overall, like for a video game. For a free game, a bit higher than that, whatever you want to give there. But overall, just for a video game in general, 4 out of 10, even if it's free, I don't really see a whole heck of a reason to get super invested in it, especially because there's a whole heck of a heap of videos out there. It's looking like, tentative speaking, knock on wood type thing of where there's going to be enough content creators playing the game, and it seems like enough people just in general playing the game like on the servers and stuff, so therefore I would assume buying some aesthetics and stuff, where the game will probably last a fair bit. I don't know exactly how long. I don't know if it's going to be many years, but I'd say at least has 2 or 3 years of actual life, like getting content and stuff, tentatively speaking, to say. So I'll put it this way. Skate is not a failure. It's underwhelming. I agree with the general sentiment on that. There's underwhelming and there's a whole heck of a heap missing. But it's not an outright failure. It's not an outright slap in the face of the franchise, because they're calling it Skate, not Skate 4. And they're making it free, so of course there's going to be a lot of people who weren't involved with the franchise whatsoever playing it this time too. But it's certainly not a good representation of the franchise either. So overall, it's underwhelming, and I very much wish there would be a true Skate 4, and who knows, maybe if this is successful, there still might be a small chance of there being at some point way down the line. But for now, really about all I can say is a tentative yeehaw. But I do think there's genuine potential, and if it gets that way, I will play it more. And that will be worth a yeehaw. Not super enthusiastic, but I do think there's genuine potential for the yeehaw to be there eventually.